Stories from the Punch newspaper. We'll also get a touchdown on the pages of The Guardian. I have The Nation here with me this day and The Explainer. All right, so let's begin in earnest with our first story from the Punch newspaper. And it reads, federal government mandates GPS coordinates for projects above 150 million naira. So the federal government has mandated that all ministries, departments and agencies dedicate to global positioning system coordinates for all capital projects valued at 150 million naira and above in their 2025 expenditure submissions. The directive contained in the official implementation guidelines for the 2025 Appropriation Act aims to improve transparency and accountability in the execution of capital projects nationwide. So you can read that story from The Punch. And moving on, post-NEC meetings, APC, PDP set stage for epic 2027 face-off. So less than 2 years to the next general election, the ruling All Progressives Congress and the main opposition People's Democratic Party are already locking horns in what promises to be a fierce battle for the nation's top political prize in 2027. Both parties held their National Executive Committee meetings in Abuja on Thursday and unveiled strategic steps ahead of the election. Also from The Punch, state slashing power tariff must pay subsidy, NERC. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has said that state governments do not have jurisdiction over the national grid and over electric power stations established under federal laws or operating under licenses it's issued. The Commission stated this in its reaction to the controversies generated by the Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission's decision to slash the Band A tariff. Electricity Act Amendment, Labour rejects proposed ban on industrial action. Another story there from The Punch, which you can catch. And let's look at this one briefly. It says the Nigerian Labour Congress, Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, and National Union of Electricity Employees on Thursday resisted a ban on industrial actions by power sector workers as contained in the proposed Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2025. The federal government in the proposed Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2025 before the National Assembly will no longer tolerate blackout orchestrated by labor unions under the guise of protest or strikes if the bill is passed. All right, so from The Guardian now, let's touch down on The Guardian. Court orders police to pay NSAS protesters 10 million naira. So the Federal High Court in Lagos rose from its Thursday ruling slamming 10 million naira damages on the Nigeria Police Force NPF for breaching the fundamental rights of NSAS protesters. Justice Musa Kakaki accused the police of violating the fundamental rights of the protesters who had gathered at the Lekki toll gate on October 20, 2024 to commemorate the 4th anniversary of the NSAS demonstrators. U.S. to quit funding HIV treatment in Nigeria. Others. The Trump administration is making plans to shut down the U.S. President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, a federal program that provides funding for HIV treatment in Nigeria and many other developing countries. Documents obtained by the New York Times reveal that the U.S. government has begun mapping out plans to shut down the program. And from The Nation, I will run through a few stories and then we'll take a story from this day. Okay, we'll take one story each. Yilwada pledges unity expansion as new APC national chairman. Newly elected national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Yilwada, has pledged to work with all stakeholders in unity to strengthen and expand the ruling party. He gave the assurance during his acceptance speech at the 14th National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the APC held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. And from these days, Tinubu, it's not easy navigating stormy economic instability, but we're stable now. President Bola Tinubu yesterday reflected on his over 2 years old administration, saying it is not easy navigating the stormy waters of economic instability, but we're assuring now the economy is stabilized. Speaking at 14th National Executive Committee meeting of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, at the banquet hall of State House, Abuja, Tinubu told governors of his party that Nigerians were still complaining about lack of development at the grassroots and urged them to do more. Let's take this one from the Explainer. CBN's disciplinary measures have strengthened Nigeria. So the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives, Mr. Bismarck Rewani, has on Thursday commended the Federal Central Bank of Nigeria's monetary policy template, inflation control and transparent handling of foreign exchange markets, saying they have helped to strengthen the Naira. Rewani, who made this submission, said, but for those monetary policy measures, inflation rate in Nigeria would have reached an alarming rate by now. All right, so that's how much you can take on newspaper headlines this morning. Remember, you can always get yourself a copy of the dailies or go online to read. Well, connect with us. We are live on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961, and on X, Traffic Radio 961. Over to Victor Terry for the rest of the show.
Hello everyone, this is Tony Adibola.